When I arrived in Nome, I was 15 years old, and I didn't get a chance to go to the movies that often because I was working at night. My shift usually started from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. So I never got to go to the movies very much, but I knew that in the movies and plus other couple of restaurants there that I wasn't allowed to go into, and a lot of the natives were not able to attend some of the places that they'd like to go to. So I worked with this guy. His name was Whitey, and his last name was Shank. And he had a daughter that was a couple years older than me. So he approached me at work one day. He said, "Would you take my daughter to the movies?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take her to the movies. What's the occasion?" He said, "Well," he says, "I want to break that segregation up in the movie house." So I said, "Yeah, what do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, I'll buy the tickets and you meet me there." It was on a Friday night, if I remember right. It was in March of 1944, if I remember correctly. So we got all set up and he got the tickets, and I met him and his daughter at the movies, and he had already prepped me. He says, "They're going to try to make you move, but I want you to sit in this section over here where you're not supposed to sit." I said, "Okay." And he says, "They're going to drag you out, but you stay in there as long as you can. Make a big deal out of this. Don't just waltz out with them." So I said, "Okay." So we went in there and we sat in the two seats that we were supposed to be sitting at, and sure enough, the ushers had two ushers there, and both of them were part native. And they says we'd have to move, and I said, "We're not moving. We're staying here." So they took off, and then the lady that was running the movie house, she came down and said, "You're going to have to move, or we're going to have to call the cops to come and move you." Said, "I'm not moving." So then the guy that was running the projector upstairs, he came down. Well, he's a guy I worked with, and he's half native. And he came down and he bent over me and he whispered, he says, "Don't move." So they took off. Then two cops came in, and I had a good hold of the chairs there, anchored in concrete, just like most movie houses. I don't know, in the early days they had these seats and they bolted them right to the concrete so you can't move them. So I was hanging on to them seats and they were trying to drag me out, and I was 17 years old, husky young man. And these two old guys, you could tell they'd smoked half their life, and they were huffing and puffing and trying to break me loose, and two of them couldn't break me loose. So they went and got the chief. The chief comes in and he had one of these billy clubs, and he started whacking my knuckles where I was hanging on to the chair. And I thought, well, we've held this up for about 15 minutes. And the banker was sitting right in front of us. And he was very disgusted because he wasn't getting to see no movie. He was getting to see a couple people hold up this whole movie. So they finally drug us off to jail. And of course, Whitey said that he would be there, and he'd put up bail as soon as they'd drug us in. So sure enough, they drug us out, and her dad was there, Whitey, and he followed us down to the jailhouse there. And they booked us, and the bail was $20 a piece. So he put up $40, and we were out of there right away. Well, that caused a big stink in Nome, and after that episode, they opened up the movie theater to open seating wherever you wanted to sit. So that's what kind of broke up the segregation in the Nome area, the restaurants and all that.